The Federal High Court in Abuja has heard the testimony of the 8th persecution witness, codenamed SSH, in the trial of suspects linked to the 2022 Ondo Church massacre. The witness, an operative of the Ondo State Security Network, also known as Amotekun, narrated how he and other personnel engaged the attackers shortly after the deadly assault on St. Francis Catholic Church in Ondo State. And now joining us from the court is our judiciary correspondent, Joshua Imarayi, who's been following this trial since it started. Joshua, a very good afternoon to you. This is the second time the court is hearing from an Amotekun operative. What has the witness told the court so far?
Well, Judith, good afternoon to you. 100% correct. This is the second time that the court is hearing from an Amotekun personnel. And the first time the court heard from one of the Amotekun personnel, that particular witness, codenamed SSG, who testified before the court, pointed out to the second defendant as one of the assailants who he could identify on that particular day of the attack. This particular witness actually narrated how they received calls from their superiors on getting to the St. Francis Catholic Church in Ondo State. They could see that several lifeless bodies lie abandoned in the ruins after the attack. They also said that they could discover that both old, young, male, female, they were all dead, lying in their pool of blood. Immediately, they swooped on into investigation, and they gathered from intelligence report, particularly from a lady who sells corn at the front of the church, who told them that the assailant just left that particular scene. They pressed on further and gathered further intelligence report from one of the bike riders in that area, who told them that they were in a blue Nissan with the registration number AKR 895AC. Immediately they swept in action and they chased after the attackers, and some of the attackers, 4 of them particularly, ran into a bush. In the process they engaged in gunfire, and one of their assistants, particularly a hunter man who was along with them, was actually gunned down by the attackers. They engaged in severe firepower, exchange of firepower. They could not apprehend one of them. And secondly, another witness also came to the court and testified, this time a pathologist, who testified that most of the some of the victims were actually carried out autopsy on, and they discovered that some of them suffered from internal injuries as a result of multiple gunshot and explosion in the court. Today, we also saw an Amotekun operative particularly testify the same thing, some sort of similar testimony to the former, the previous one who came to court to testify. So that is where we are in the court proceedings, and that is the information that the court has gathered, and so many testimonies from the witnesses. Right.
Now, this is the 8th persecution witness that is now coming forward to testify in front of the court there. I do have to ask, we understand that the prosecution may be looking to close its case soon. How many witnesses do we have to testify on the stand? And what can you tell us about the progress of the case so far at the prosecution side?
Well, the prosecution fielded the 8th prosecution witness today, and after the conduction of the evidence in chief, the prosecution told the court that they would be happy if the court could grant them 3 consecutive days to field more witnesses and close the case. So far, the DSS has fielded nothing less than 8 witnesses, and we gathered from reputable sources that the DSS will actually field more witnesses, maybe up to 2, to make the witnesses 10 in the case. The court, in its magnanimity, particularly Justice Emeka Nwite, adjourned the proceedings to March to 24 to 26 to allow the prosecution conclude this case, so that the defense would bring forth its own witnesses. And in this case, the defense will be bringing all of the defendants to testify in the trial of the alleged murderous act that was carried out on the St. Francis Catholic Church on the 5th of June 2022.
All right. Well, all eyes are on the court at this time. We'll continue to follow this developing story. There's a persecution following the Ondo Church massacre trial as is ongoing in the Federal High Court in Abuja.